Okay, so just continuing on from that last little short clip, I finally found the page for the Highland Flats tree farm, and I just want to read to you the story of how the Highland Flats tree farm came into existence. So it says Gary stumbled across a field of balsam fir trees in 1998 in northern Idaho in Naples, near Bonner's Ferry on the Canadian border, while he was driving around looking for fields of wild tansy that he could cut and truck back to St. Mary's for distillation. On the edge of a Christmas tree farm, he noticed a pile of trees that apparently was going to be burned. He stopped abruptly and ran to the field to investigate. He learned that many farmers were bulldozing down and burning the overgrown Christmas trees because the demand was diminishing every year and the trees had grown too big to be sold, as well as the problem of spruce weevil attacking them, making it impossible to sell the trees even for nursery stock. Gary asked if he could take the trees in exchange for clearing their land so that it would be usable for other crops. They eagerly agreed because it was costing them between $400 and $600 per acre to have them cleared and burned. The farmer thought it was strange and perhaps even a little crazy, but he was happy to let someone else take them away. It was a win-win for both. After the first distillation of the balsam trees, there was no doubt that he had made a remarkable discovery and that he had to bring this oil to Young Living. That began the new operation of cutting and shipping trees for distilling. It was an immense project with a complex learning curve. Determining the best way to distill to get the most oil out of the trees was challenging but exciting. The difficulty was chipping the trees, getting the chips into the trucks, and then getting them hauled back to St. Mary's. It would have been so easy to harvest the trees in the summer, but the trees didn't yield as much oil when the temperatures were warm. Conifer trees send the oil up their branches to protect themselves from freezing in the cold, a bit like antifreeze. When the temperatures are warm, the oil goes back into the roots because it's not needed for the tree's protection. So what did Gary discover? The colder the temperature, the better the oil. The first harvest began in early 1998 when winter temperatures dropped to minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit, anywhere from 2 to 5 days, and was very dry. Then it would start raining when it warmed up to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Out in the bush, miles away from food and protection from the harsh conditions, cutting and shipping the trees was miserable. The chipper that worked well for tansy wasn't strong enough. Wasn't strong enough. Yes, for little trees, but most of the trees were big and overgrown for their purpose. At lunchtime, Gary and the crew would drive into Bonner's Ferry to buy some food and then hurry to the local self-service laundromat to dry their heavy winter clothing while they ate, a blessing that probably only they could appreciate. If there were any mechanical problems, someone had to drive 20 minutes to Bonner's Ferry, 30 minutes to Sandpoint, 1.5 hours to Coeur d'Alene, or 2.5 hours to Spokane one way. The snow and ice on the roads made traveling slow and dangerous, let alone finding the right part, getting back before dark, and trying to fix the equipment out in the field with the blinding snow and cutting wind. But the oil was exquisite in smell and brought an excitement that drove Gary to find its secrets. What could this oil do for mankind? In 1999, 120 acres were purchased through a land auction, and a new Young Living farm was established.